Well, they said it, viewers. Again, I'm gonna use this intro on all these WRC videos because it's dead handy, and it was absolutely brilliant of everyone in the studio to get together and do that for me. A massive help, it has to be said. But the next part now is an interview with Irvin Zonka, head of design of WRC, and he's going to take us through the development process as well as his thoughts behind it as well. It's a longer interview, but I thought I'd just let this roll and let him get his information, his side across as well. So enjoy. Okay, viewers, so now I'm going to be talking to Irvin Zonka, who's the head of game design at Milestone. Irvin, thank you for joining me today. So let's talk about WRC, the development of where WRC 3 has come from. WRC 2010, I admit I was disappointed with it. WRC in 2011, WRC 2, again, I felt wasn't implemented well with the wheel. I played WRC 3, and from the moment I turned a corner, I knew big steps had been taken. Tell me the transformation between where you've been and what's really been different, the journey of 2000, WRC 3 essentially.
Yeah, hi visitors, hi viewers, it's like that, okay. And it was a very long journey and quite a difficult one, because when we started in 2010 with the first WRC, everything was very new for us. Everything was to be built from scratch. Okay, so we had to create a new graphic engine, a new physics engine. Everything was meant to be new because since until that moment we only focused on games with tarmac settings. Okay, so like the SBK series, the MotoGP series. So we started on going to real rallies to gather information, gathering references, speak with drivers, team managers, etc. And then we started working very hard on the engine of the game. As you said, we couldn't reach the perfect game at the very first edition, and we know this. So what we basically tried to do in 2010 was to tap our vision, because we wanted really to start from the first game with the vision of improving the game every year and reach the perfect game for people who likes WRC and rallying. So we know that WRC 2010 had several issues. Okay, we started working hard on WRC 2 to correct all things that were possible at that moment. With WRC 3, we are very happy because our vision is starting to take form. Okay, it's starting to be there on the video, on the gameplay, on the graphics, on the tracks. For example, also the track layout changed a lot since 2010. At the very beginning, the stages were too wide, curves had too wide angle. The tracks weren't as good as what we could do at that moment. So now you can take, for example, the New Zealand stage. New Zealand stage in 2010 was okay. New Zealand stage in WRC 3 is what I think is very good, because it's twisty, winding, with a lot of blind spots and very difficult to drive in. So it has been a very long way, a difficult way, but we are very happy about the results in WRC 3.
Okay, so I mean, obviously everybody wants the perfect rally game, and we're talking to fans out there of Richard Burns rally. It has to be said. It comes up a lot of Colin McRae rally. They're two very different audiences for a start. You're trying to keep everybody happy, and we say, why can't we have everything in one rally game? Is that down to budget limitations? I mean, it is expensive trying to make a new rally game. Are there always things that you wish you could put in and couldn't? Does that affect some of what you see in the game? How does that affect development?
Yeah, one thing that I really like to say is that since we read a lot of forums on the internet, we read all the single comments to YouTube videos, to interviews, to reviews and previews. I and a lot of other people in the studios grew up playing the Colin McRae series. I remember avoiding school to stay at home playing the first Colin McRae that introduces mud on the car and super special stages, and all that rally stuff was really amazing. The rollovers. It really blew away Tommy McKinnon rally. That was not so good. Okay. And then the second was very good. Next step, the third, the fourth, and the fifth. and every time I was looking at the backpack to see which cars were featured, etc. And a lot of people also plays RBR every day here to see how the physics works, what are the things that people likes the most. Okay. Also, we are really fanatics about rallying because, for example, I live in the same town where lives the Italian rally champion Piero Longhi. So I grew up with rallying. Okay, I really know what it's like to wait for the rally weekend. It's Friday and you start going there, and you can see the rally during the night with friends camping. It's very important for us. The background here in Milestone is very important because it's very important to try to create the best rally game because you really have to know what does it feel like. Okay. So the problem probably is that everybody wanted WRC 2010 to be from the very beginning the first rally game from Milestone, the best rally game ever. It was very difficult to do that because we have to also remember and remind that Colin McRae series is now 12 years. It is now 12 years since the first release of Colin McRae, so it's something that was improved year after year. Also, RBR was out in 2004, I think, and it's almost 10 years that people is modding Richard Burns Rally, etc. Because if we pick RBR for what it was like in 2004, it was a good rally game, but had several issues. Okay. Now modders did a great work on it, and now it's very fine. The problem is to make everybody happy from the very first time with your first shot. It's too difficult to do that. So it's why we are trying to improving the series every year, listening to the feedbacks, and we'd really like to give the good feelings for everybody who plays the game. For example, we know that a lot of people that likes RBR wants great cockpit view and great physics, very difficult handling, very difficult and realistic handling. Also wants probably to collide with the wall or roll over and end the race. Okay, and we also know that a lot of people grew up like me with the accessibility of the Colin McRae series, because if you play Colin McRae 1, Colin McRae 2 now, you can really notice how accessible they were, okay? But also, it's always when you try a game that you remember in one way, and you try it 10 years later, you notice that it's not as good as you remember to be. So every time we work on the physics, on the stages also for our WRC game, we have in mind the best rally game we ever played. So it's inside us, the RBR or Colin McRae series. And every time we plug a steering wheel to the console, to the PC, and tune and tweak the physics, we are trying to get from the game the same emotions we remember we had. It's not like copying one game or copying one other game. It's like trying to recreate the same emotions that we had at that time playing RBR or Colin McRae series. I really like the way WRC 3 became accessible, like an old Colin McRae game, and retained the challenge of RBR, because we tried really to convey the same feeling, for example, in corners, to put the car sideways to make it drift, to gain the grip you need to exit from the corner very fast. So we think that also seeing you playing in your videos, I really noticed that I think that we really achieved that goal of making something that is very accessible, because you enter the stages from the very first time, and you actually were able to complete the stages without rolling over, for example, with a lot of concentration, but you managed to do it. And also we like that we see you struggling with the steering wheel in the videos, so it's not just okay, I pick up I play, it's easy, I reach the finish line, I'm fine. Okay, I'm feeling good with the car. Everything is controlled by me, the player, but the car is alive, the steering wheel is very hard to turn, and I really have to struggle to achieve a good result.
Well, that takes me to another question, actually. I always see this debate on steering lock, right? People are always talking about steering lock. Now, as I understand it, rally cars and racing cars in general tend to use, as do I, tend to use a much smaller steering lock, because whenever you're in a racing car, the first thing they'll tell you is you place your hands on the sides of the wheel and you use the power to control your turning circle. Now drifting is different. Some drifters do prefer to have a 900-degree spinny wheel. That really is up to them. The problem is when you're drifting on an uneven surface, you can hit a bump and that can spin the wheel round and you can really be in trouble. So in general, in rallying, as I understand it, it's a smaller lock. You've spoken to rally drivers, you've had that kind of research. Tell me a little bit about steering lock now and what your experience has been and why you've opted for what you have.
I've read some comments on the forum about the steering lock, etc. First, I want to say that on PC the steering lock is totally free. You can set up the steering lock that you want. On consoles, we lock the steering wheel at around 300 degrees, okay, for 360 and PS3. Some people is worried about that because some people is saying, oh no, the locking at 300 degrees could be something that can makes the physics better or make the physics worse or make it impossible for me to enjoy the physics. I would like to say that it's not the case for WRC 3. As you said, if you also see the videos of rally drivers driving the car in rallying, you can see that they use the full steering lock of 900 degree only on a few moments in a special stage, in some maybe very very close very tight hairpins, for example. They usually tend to use the steering lock that we put in the game, also on the console versions. So it's more like one about 300 degrees. Okay. So I don't think this is something that will make the game worse for the players. As you could see by playing it by yourself, the game feels good with that steering lock. It's just what you need in corners. You just arrive quite close to crossing your arms, and everything is there. You can be very precise, and even in both fast corners and tight hairpins. So we think it's good for the game. This said, I would like to say that since we are noticing this kind of comments, we always year by year make a scan through the internet and write down all the comments that we have, positive comments to see what we made good into the game, and negative comments to see what we have to still improve. Okay, so in WRC 3 we improved a lot of things, not only on graphics and tracks layout, but also in the physics. Okay, physics engine. The physics engine has been rewritten by our programmers in a lot of parameters like suspensions and tire model, and I think that you can really notice it by playing WRC 2 and WRC 3 that the tire model changed. And also our game designers that tune the physics and tweaks the parameters had a lot of work to do. It took us about 6 months to redo the physics from WRC 2 to WRC 3. So if the player says that they want more, we will try to work on it, because we really think that positive and negative comments is what helped us to make step forward from WRC 1, 2, and 3. So it's very important to listen to all of them, because every player is different from one another, and we really like to make them happy. Okay. So I think that WRC 3 is fine with the steering lock. It's quite close to real rallying, because they tend to use that steering lock. It's not like the YouTube videos of Japanese people drifting on Hakone or something that you see that they use the whole 900 degrees lock. So yeah.
No, well, thanks very much for that, Irvin. I mean, really, I suppose for viewers, if you are passionate about rally games and you do want to see the rally game that you want and you see the issues, I think it's about listing those issues and letting the developers know if you don't like something, what you don't like and what needs to be done to improve that? What will make it better? Because I'm always, letting the viewers know that, you're a part of development of these games. And that's why I think it's great that even from the early videos in July that you've listened to comments and you've implemented changes. I think it's been important because it's made a better game, even just in those last few months, because so much happens in the last few months of development. Well, listen, Evan, I want to thank you very much for your time today. And we're going to meet some more of the development team and look a bit more at the game. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. I'm very happy, and I'd like to say one thing more about what you said now. Please send comments to us, comments on the videos on YouTube, comments on Alan videos, because it's very, very important for us. Because I want just to make you an example. One user told us when we released some images at some months ago that the tires on the tarmac were too wide, okay, on the shoulders. So I went to the car modeler and I told him, our tires on the tarmac are not good. People is just one person, but it's very important for us. So there is one people on the forum that said that it's not good. So we arranged to have here one real tarmac tire. We took all the measures and we put that correctly in the final version of the game. And then we had feedback from the forums that they noticed that we changed that just because one people noticed that was wrong. And it's very important for us to gather comments and to give something better and improved to them. So guys, really continue giving us feedbacks, negative feedbacks, positive feedbacks. It's great because they really help to improve the game. So, and thank you, Alan, for your feedbacks, because they are very, very important for us, because seeing you playing is really what is really a thing that can make us focus on the right things to tweak and to adjust for the final release. So thanks.
Yeah, thank you.